Black Friday week is the toughest time for me to win the no-buy challenge. The challenge of trying not to spend any money for as long as possible. It's not that I want to spend money. It's that during the week of the supposedly huge sales, there are services and products I actually need for work and personal life, and I want to take advantage of the relatively low prices. But it's quite easy to get carried away and end up buying something I don't really need. Sure, you can probably resist buying another TV when you already have one. But what happens when annual subscriptions I was planning to cancel come up for renewal exactly during these days, and I end up paying for another full year of something I know I won't even use? The solution to this problem is called budgeting. It wasn't invented for this exact purpose, but it's yet another advantage of knowing exactly how much I spend and on what. And since I've been budgeting for 10 straight years without missing a single day, I know down to the cent what Office 365, Adobe, WPX, and the shoes I destroy walking 8 to 15 miles a day actually cost me. And those are exactly the things I spend money on this Black Friday. The open secret of Adobe users. For the past 10 years, right around Black Friday, I renew my Adobe subscription. The full Creative Cloud suite that includes everything from Photoshop and Lightroom to Acrobat and Premiere Pro. It's not that I'm waiting for Black Friday deals though. I honestly couldn't care less about them. Because one day before my annual plan expires and the monthly price jumps from $29.99 to $69.99, I go in and cancel the subscription. Except it doesn't actually cancel. Adobe immediately counters with another full year at the exact same price. Of course, I didn't know this trick from the beginning. When I first signed up in 2015, I was paying a little more, around $40. Back then, I would contact Adobe support and ask them to terminate my current plan so I could switch to the Black Friday offer. I was too scared to hit the actual cancel button myself in case I got hit with the early termination penalty or my Lightroom Cloud Sync broke and I lost photos. Only their counter offer would have been cheaper. But how could I know if I never went through with the cancellation? It took me years to learn what most people already knew. If you go all the way to the final cancellation screen with a big red penalty amount screaming at you, there's an option to just keep the current plan for another year. Live and learn. Buying 1 terabyte of cloud storage for only €10 a year. Like everyone else, I'm always hunting for the cheapest high-capacity cloud storage that still works perfectly. As a long-time Android user and current Google Workspace subscriber, I have used Google Drive, the free tier that gives you 15 to 30 gigabytes. With Google One, you can get 2 terabytes for about €100 per year. As a huge now Apple fanboy these days, another option is iCloud. Right now, I pay €40 per year for 200 gigabytes shared with the family, while 2 terabytes in Apple's ecosystem cost around €120 per year. We mainly use iCloud for device backups. And there's also Apple One, but that jumps to over €300 per year for the 2 terabyte tier, but you get other Apple services like music, TV, and arcade. As a 10-year Adobe subscriber now, the Creative Cloud plan already gives me 100 gigabytes for the €300 I pay annually. There's a 1 terabyte upgrade, but switching tiers is a bit of a maze and I never bothered. My Adobe storage rarely goes above 5 gigabytes anyway, as I move photos and PDFs to local drives and my NAS. I also tried Dropbox's free plan years ago, but it never stuck. I want something that integrates tightly with services or products I already use. Then there's OneDrive, which I have settled on as the absolute best value when paired with Office 365 Family. You will find countless other happy OneDrive users online who say the same thing, and for good reason. OneDrive is free for the first 5 gigabytes, €20 per year for 100 gigabytes, and €100 per year for 1 terabyte. But the magic happens with Office 365 Family. €130 per year gets you 1 terabyte each for 6 people. That's 6 terabytes total. And it gets even better when Black Friday deals hit Office 365. This year, the cheapest I found Office 365 Family in Greece was €89. Decent, but not the best I've seen. Back in November 2023, Amazon ran a deal for €117, but for 27 months instead of 12. Obviously, me and the 3 friends I shared the plan with jumped on it. We each got 1 terabyte on OneDrive until August 2026 for roughly €20 per person. The extra months just stacked on top of our existing subscription that was expiring the following May. I was hoping for a repeat this year, so we could add another 27 months and not think about it again until New Year's Eve in 2029. Unfortunately, Spanish and German Amazon stores are offering Office for almost €100, so I'll probably renew through a Greek retailer. My websites now cost me €200 and €500 less per year. For 20 years, I've been buying domains and building websites with a goal of ranking number 1 on Google and monetizing the traffic, mostly through display ads. Over the last year, though, you've probably noticed that the internet has been changing at an incredible speed. The reason? Artificial intelligence. One of the biggest shifts that directly hit my business was Google rolling out AI mode in search results. People stopped clicking through to websites as much to get answers, which crashed revenue for web publishers like me. If nobody clicks on Google results anymore, where am I supposed to show ads to? With a nightmare scenario of a zero-click internet closer than ever, I had to cut down website hosting costs. The $3,000 bill I was paying WP Engine, one of the most reliable but also most expensive managed WordPress hosts, suddenly felt insane when revenue had tanked to levels I've never seen. By chance, I stumbled on WPX, a similar managed WordPress host, but significantly cheaper. Last year, I moved most of my sites there. I've been extremely happy with their support and performance, so I was waiting to see if they would run Black Friday deals to renew. They didn't disappoint. For new customers, they offered 1 year hosting plus 4 months free, 2 years of hosting plus 6 months free, 3 years of hosting plus 12 months free, and 5 years of hosting plus 24 months free. Existing customers, like myself, get 2 to 6 fewer free months depending on the plan. Of course, the free months are just a marketing trick. It's easier to sell 6 months free than 13% cheaper. In sales, you have to make the offer as simple and instant. You don't want the customer doing math at first glance, though obviously I'll dig into every detail. The smart move would have been to renew for 5 years and take the maximum discount. But I went with a 2-year plan for a few reasons. First, 1 year of great service isn't enough for me to commit to 5 years of hosting with them. Second, most of these sites don't make money anymore. I might shut down many of them. And third, I need to be very careful with cash until I'm out of the AI storm. Still, compared to every other host I've used in my 20-year career as a web publisher, WPX is one of the best decisions I've made for my WordPress sites. I buy expensive shoes by the truckload. I walk 8 to 15 kilometers every single day. Walking became a daily habit 3 years ago when I had a stomach issue. It helped me lose 25 kilos or 55 pounds and gave me a ton of other benefits. But walking that much absolutely destroys shoes. They usually need to be replaced by the end of the year. And to avoid future joint or back problems from pounding pavement, I only buy the most cushioned, supportive shoes I can find. For me, that's always been a 6. I've tried tons of models and, as usual, you get what you pay for. So I permanently have Nimbus and Cayano models in my watch lists and carts. I don't care if it's the current or last year's version, as long as it's one of those lines and in a color I like. Lately, I've also been really happy with the Cumulus line, which actually lasted longer than Nimbus, so I'm eyeing those too. This Black Friday week, I spotted a deal from one online store selling the brand new Cayano 32 for just €120. That's actually the most I have ever paid for these shoes since I started wearing them around 2017, back when I barely walked. We are talking about shoes that launch at €200+. But for me, the retail price doesn't matter. What matters is the price I pay and whether it feels worth it. Since I had already placed a few orders for relatives this week, I had a €50 coupon for orders over €150. So I threw in a couple of other things we needed, hit the threshold, and effectively got the top of the line A6 for just €70 after the coupon. It was a total no-brainer. I always stock up on shoes during these sales anyway for the next few years. Now I've got 2 to 3 pairs of Cayano ready for my walks for the next 3 to 5 years. At this point, I need to tell you that you are listening or watching on YouTube a voice letter from Greece, the audiobook version of my newsletter that I send to my blog's subscribers. Since reading is faster than listening to my awful accent, consider subscribing to receive the transcript of this letter in your inbox a couple of hours before it goes live on YouTube and podcast platforms. I save money on Black Friday because of budgeting. You may have noticed I remember exact dates and prices for Black Friday deals from years ago, like how much I paid for Adobe, Microsoft, and A6 5 or 10 years back. It's not that I have an amazing memory, it's that I do budgeting. And that's one more benefit of having a budget and full control over my finances. Being able to look up literally any transaction I have ever made. I started budgeting in 2015, completely by accident. Steam's game library threw me a €7.99 deal for a budgeting app which normally sells for €30 to €40. The name caught my eye. Until then, the word budgeting meant nothing to me. The app is called YNumb. You need a budget. I bought it and got hooked. For 10 years, I haven't let a single euro slip by unrecorded. Budgeting has become a daily habit. I might forget to brush my teeth, I might skip walking if it's pouring rain outside, but there is zero chance I will spend even 1 cent without logging it in the app. So without trying, I have built an endless history of every single expense and income across all of my accounts. Where money came in, where it went, when, and what I bought. The value of that knowledge is priceless. Now, if I want to know how much I've spent in total on Office 365, how much Adobe Lightroom has cost me over the years, or how much money I've blown on shoes, I just search the keyword in YNumb and instantly have every answer. And there's another huge perk with budgeting. During Black Friday week, a lot of us sign up and start subscriptions to random online services. A year later, we've stopped using them and plan to cancel. But we forget, the renewal hits and we hit our heads against the wall. With budgeting, I can see at a glance every upcoming charge, tomorrow, next week, next month. I know exactly until when I've paid for, like the Office 365 subscription, instead of logging into every company site one by one. So beyond controlling my finances and knowing how much I can actually spend on Black Friday, YNumb also stops me from wasting money on services and products I don't need. And trust me, it's really easy to fall into that trap during Black Friday and Cyber Monday weeks.